Just when you think the performances could not get any worse than Newcastle away, Chelsea show up to Old Trafford and lose 2-1 to Manchester United. Let's get into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the championship!
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P, for what is your Chelsea match review, but more specifically a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance against Manchester United. But before I get into all that, you already know the deal. I need you to do me the favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, keep up with the latest and the newest. It'll help me and it'll help my sponsors who go by the name of Major League Socks. And fellas, if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of greatness, you know what to do. Just hit them up. The link will be in the description. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys again. I thought after that Newcastle performance where Chelsea were diabolical, we had hit rock bottom. I thought that only way we can go from there is up. And then we stumble into Brighton. You know, of course we escaped with the 3-2 win, but the performance was still not very good. And then we show up at Old Trafford today and the performances are even worse. You know, that was undoubtedly one of the worst performances I've seen in quite some time. Just everything about that performance just screamed inconsistent club, young team, no idea what they're doing on the pitch. No, they just looked undercooked in every aspect of that game outside of like Sanchez, who made some incredible saves for us. Everything about that performance just had me seething. It was just so reminiscent of that Newcastle performance. And again, it was just everyone, whether it be the defenders looking completely discombobulated and lost, the midfielders having no connection, no synergy, no understanding of where they need to be in order to like be on the front foot and play through their press, and strikers getting in incredible areas time and time again and just fluffing their opportunities. I mean, this performance was unbelievably poor. How is it fathomable that Chelsea spent well over 270 million in that midfield and still look a side that have no idea how to control a match, how to take control of a game, how to win tough battles? And you have a side in Man United who have Arambat and McTominay playing them off the pitch. This is just unacceptable. We're going to start there because I cannot for the life of me understand how Moises Caicedo and Enzo have regressed so mightily in such a short span of time. You know, Enzo Fernandez, while being nice on the ball, is positionally poor. Enzo Fernandez, while being, you know, aesthetically pleasing when he's passing the ball, delivering the ball, if he's not giving you that, is giving you nothing. You cannot rely on him for nothing. His spatial awareness is poor. His ability to win the ball in the midfield is poor. His fight, his commitment to the fight is poor. It's just non-existent. I still have yet to see a game where we can pinpoint his ideal position. I heard we played him in the 6. Everyone complained, said he needs to be further up the pitch. He needs to be the guy that's stitching together attacking moves. Play him further up the pitch, play him in the 10. You know, now we're saying that no, he's not a number 10. He can't play there. He has no influence because he can't press effectively. So we want to play him in a number 8, you know, the more free role of number 8 role. And, you know, I guess that might be his best position, but you got to be able to score goals. You have to be able to give more in that sort of like advanced number 8 role. You have to be able to press the ball and win it. And he just does not possess that. He's aesthetically pleasing on the ball. Don't get it twisted. I understand that he has the technique and he's a beautiful passer of the football and has an eye for pass. But to be a complete midfielder, a guy that you spent 105 million on, you need to be giving a lot more to that midfield than just, you know, the odd pass here and there. And the role he's been assigned in that midfield and, you know, that pivot is one where we need him to be complete in so many different aspects of his game. We need him to be defensively sound. We can't allow teams to just play through us. You know, we can't allow Caicedo to be the only defender in there that is compensating for the spaces that are being left by Enzo Fernandez for his lack of awareness in defensive situations. When you know you're going to have a physical battle in the midfield and you need your midfielders to be up for the challenge. I just don't feel like Enzo Fernandez provides you with the tenacity, the grit, the determination, the energy, the athleticism and whatnot to win that battle. When you need him to be a stalwart, like I said, a true central midfielder, a player that can provide you with, box-to-box presence, a player that is defensively aware, in a pivot, you need him to be that player for you. He just doesn't give you that. Like, it seems like his strengths are when we're on the ball, but when we can't win the ball back, he just drifts out of the match and doesn't provide you with anything, like absolutely nothing. And you would think that Caicedo was supposed to be the yin to his yang. And yeah, he's obviously a physical midfielder and a guy that loves to get in on the tackles, but right now he just looks so poor. Spatial awareness, gap control, the distance between you and the attacker. Everywhere, he's all over the place. He's just up and down the pitch, but with not providing you with any real stability in the midfield. We were played through quite easily today by Arambak, McTominay, obviously Fernandez, all of these guys. I know most of the play went onto the flanks, and that was where Garnacho was most effective, and Antony in times and whatnot. But for the most part, we had no solidity in the midfield, and that was why the game was so wide open. You're seeing up and down the pitch. And for me, like, Caicedo has to be that solidifying presence in the midfield, and he's just been nothing close to that. Late on tackles, his challenges are way too aggressive. He's not even really putting a play in on the ball. He's really just aggressively going after attackers and not really showing that he has the efficiency to win the ball. Doesn't really show that he's a clean tackler. Like, when you see N'Golo Kante going for a tackle, it's very rarely a foul. He wins the ball cleanly every time. And, that's the type of midfielder that I thought we were getting in Caicedo, a guy that is very, very, adept at, going in for challenges and coming away from the duel with the ball. And he's just not that for us. Like, even just his temperament on the pitch is just really frustrating to watch. Like, the last game, I know that he didn't get a yellow, or he wasn't awarded with a yellow. I thought he should have been sent off. I thought he had 2 yellows easily in that game and against Brighton, and was not sent off. And maybe that was just a misstep by our assessment of these guys, our scouting team, because, when you pay 115 million, 105 million for a midfield duel, you expect them to be giving you 8 out of the 10 games should be exceptional. They should be winning those matches for you just on their quality alone. And it seems to me like 21, 22 years old, we're still getting very inconsistent performances from these two. Sure, we've had matches where Enzo has looked world class without question. Without question, the same can be said for Caicedo, but the level of consistency that you need to play at to be at the highest level in this game is just not there. It's just not there. We're not seeing 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the trot where these guys are just quality. We're seeing 1 and 2 games, then a fall off. And the argument now is that, well, the midfield is unbalanced. We need to bring Lavia into the midfield in order to see Chelsea start to control these games again. And I'm like, we need a midfield 3, a 19-year-old midfielder to come in to solidify guys we paid 105 and 150 million for. What are we talking about here? And let's not ignore the fact that, like, yes, that would make for a more, a balanced midfield, like where you have Lavia sitting in, the number 6 role, and you give Caicedo the ability to just go and seek and destroy, and, frees up Enzo to just be, Enzo, who's just basically okay on the ball, the guy that you want on the ball delivering the bullets. But when you have that scenario, the problem is now we're taking an attacker off the pitch. Chelsea struggled to score goals. So now we're going to go with a 4-3-3 and have 3 attackers that aren't really adept at scoring goals. You're going to play Cole Palmer on the right flank where he's best suited as a number 10. You're going to leave Mudryk on the bench. You're going to bring Raheem Sterling playing on the left and leave Jackson up there by himself, isolated. Or you're going to put Nkunku in the striker position and then go with a Cole Palmer and Sterling. I don't know if that's enough. I really don't know if that's enough. It seems to me like Chelsea have put together a team that needs to play with midfield 3, but also needs to play with a number 10. We need 12 players on the pitch in order to be successful right now. United did a fantastic job of just like gang tackling. You have Raheem Sterling on the right flank trying to get in, and he's got like 3 or 4 defenders around him. Same thing with Mudryk on the other side. Cole Palmer did well with his feet and whatnot to get out a couple of situations and whatnot, but just overcrowded. And that's because the spaces between our attackers was just so big, massive. And for whatever reason, like when you play like that, it makes it very hard to have any sort of connection with the other players on the pitch. unless of course you have the energy levels to stay with them, but that was just so non-existent. And Jackson, again, another one of these guys that just holds onto the ball way too long. And, I can't fault him today because, when you're so isolated, when you have a left winger that is like, 15, 20 feet away from you, and you have a right winger that's another 15, 20 feet away from you, when you have to bring your number 10 back so far deep to build that midfield because we can't play through them, play out the back, there's just a wide open space where nobody sees any sort of connection and whatnot. And that was the story of the game for me. Obviously, Chelsea had opportunities on the breaks, and they should have scored. Let's just be real. We should have scored on those opportunities, but the overall game plan was just poor. It was just awful. This is not a very good United side. They played Luke Shaw at center back in the second half, and we did not take advantage of that. So the question you gotta ask is, why are we playing like this? Why are we trying to make the pitch big when we don't have the energy levels to cope with it? Why are we not trying to play a little bit more compact and cut through them through the middle, like with numbers? Play the players a little bit closer to each other and just use, 1-2 touch passes to play around McTominay and Rambat. Like, why are we trying to isolate defenders 1v1 when, we don't have the energy to do that? We can't even connect, a 10-yard pass. We're holding on to the ball too long and turning it over, running down cul-de-sacs. Like, I sound like a broken record, but this sounds exactly like what we were doing under Graham Potter. Why are we doing that? You have to question the manager. He came into the post-match and said that we just did not have the energy levels to cope. Then why were we playing like that? You're complaining about Man United having an extra day. Well, then why weren't we playing a little bit more compact? Absorbing the pressure and hitting them on the break. Like, what was that game plan? And then on top of that, you play Colwill at left back again when you have Cucurella there. And you play Cucurella at right back when you have Reece James on the bench. And you play Disasi if you don't think that Reece James can give you 90, you play Disasi at right back, who just played there recently, is comfortable there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a complete shambles. The back line is a complete mess. And then on top of that, you give a youngster, a 19, 20-year-old, who hasn't even played 50 matches in the Premier League, you give him the armband at Old Trafford. Like, what decisions are we making right now as a football club? Like, does that make any sense whatsoever? You have Raheem Sterling, a senior member who's played in every situation. Why is he not being given the armband in these situations? Cool heads. We've seen Colwill in the last 2 or 3 matches. He's not a cool head. Why is he being given the armband? Like, you have Thiago Silva, elder statesman, a guy that has been in every situation. Is the organizer in that back line. Why is he not playing as the captain in this game? It just makes no sense to me. Like, why are we making decisions that should be so routine and easy, make them look so hard? Like, Colwill is not a captain of this Chelsea Football Club. He's just come back to the squad. He's just come back to this team. He's not even playing in his rightful position, let alone captain. But you know what? I really do have to wrap it up there, guys. I am lost for words, and it's starting to sound like a lot of what I was saying from last season. The same things. At this point in the season, you expect to see Chelsea have some sort of a semblance of what they want to do, some synergy, some chemistry, something that resembles what, the manager wants to, achieve on the pitch. And it just looks the exact opposite. Even after having spent, 275 million on the midfield, if not more? We still don't have any sort of cohesion, understanding. Guys, the connection between the two midfielders that you spent, record fees for is just non-existent. The energy levels of the squad, when we're only playing 1 game a week, is non-existent. Like, how is this happening right now? Imagine if Chelsea had European competitions on top of this now. Imagine what we'd be looking like right now. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. And I need to see, I know we're getting healthy, and I'm longing to see Lavia on the side right now, because right now, call it blasphemous, but I feel like Lavia is probably going to be the most influential midfielder that we're going to have at this club right now. That's plus Enzo, plus Caicedo, Ugochukwu. I don't care who it is. I think that Lavia is the guy that's probably going to be my first choice midfielder going forward. And we haven't even seen him kick ball yet. I just feel like the things that he provides is just a little bit more balanced than the others. And, that's, I don't know, maybe I'm just, wishful thinking at this point in time, but, I'm longing to have him back. I'm longing to have Nkunku back as well. And hopefully, we can start seeing, what we're supposed to look like when we spent, upwards of $500 million, you know, in the last little while, it's just crazy. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and maybe it was just too much too soon. But I need to see that quality on the pitch, guys. I'm not allowing for this to be what we see week in, week out. You know, we need to see a more consistent performance from these individuals, you know, specifically the ones that we expect to be the match winners for us, the guys to take the game by the scruff of the neck, the guys that we spent a mint on. We need to see them start showing their quality on a more consistent basis, or, you know, what are we doing here? What are we really doing here? But you know what? Keep the blue flag flying high up the Chelsea. Peace.